Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for my client Isaac's vlog. And we started the week off, again talking about the stuff from last time. His week started a little bad, and we had to work on getting his head straight. And then he admitted, look, he's letting stuff get to his head, the cutting, everything else. I'm like, look, can't do that. Get this stuff under control. Get the squat death fixed. And of course, then he realized that the squat that he sent me last week in the vlog was the wrong squat, meaning he confused me because he's mixed in different clips, and he sent me one of him squatting high from before, and I thought it was his current squat for the week. He's like, I'm sorry, I created confusion. And my guys got to remember that, if you're vlogging and stuff and you're sending me a bunch of footage, you got to be careful if you start sending me old footage of something else, because when I'm going through ripping it down the row, I'm not able to actually read that. I'm ripping everything you sent me in the last week in the order that you sent it to me in, and that might be what ends up in your vlog, or that might be what I think your squat was for the week. So he apologized. He created confusion with that, and apparently the one that he sent, he did hit depth. But what we had to talk about this week, he jumped in and just did a 350 squat. And I told him, look, that's not going to work. Let's get your head straight. And he did. And of course, he went a little off schedule, and he hit a bench and a deadlift heavier than I anticipated. He needed that to get his head straight. And of course, we agreed no more maxing off schedule. I'm now going to assign his numbers every week, and I expect him to hit them. And we've got to set that ego to the side. And do the prescribed lifts. It doesn't matter how good you feel. It's one thing if we're ramping to a training max with RPE, but these weren't training maxes. These are pretty well maxes that he just hit. They're all out, everything he had. We can't afford to do a whole lot of that when we're cutting. So again, he needed to get his head straight, but then we got to get the ego sorted. So if you guys notice on his squat day, what do? We do back squats, and then I have him do some front squats right now. I think the front squats, will be of use to him in a phase. Now here he did a bench, 315, paused. Now this is an all-out max, and here's why. The pause and everything was good, but again, if we're going to power lift later, that's going to get red lighted in the downward motion of the bar. You guys saw the bar dip a little bit on the left. That would get failed in a competition. Because you can't lift it. You're having to dip the bar and then, readjust, right? But for our purposes, just for the training, we'll count it. We'll count it because he did pause it. But we do need to be aware, that stuff like that, we've got to be careful of. Is it a true lift that you're allowed to compare against other people? That's the reason there are standards in powerlifting. We have to be aware of those things. You're not doing the same exercise. If you have a bar move up and down, that's not the movement. That's called a bar up and down off your chest. So it's just stuff to think about. But overall, the strength was good. He got a good pause out of the bottom. There was that bit of up and down, but he was able to lock it. But it's stuff that we work on by doing training maxes. This is fixable. It's not because he wasn't strong enough to lift it. He's plenty strong. Okay. The issue is he hasn't practiced fast, explosive training maxes and how to follow through. So when things get a little grindy, that dipping of the bar is going to be a problem. And a lot of people aren't aware of that. They're not aware. They go to their first powerlifting meet, and then all of a sudden they're getting red lighted on stuff. And they're like, well, why? Because you had downward motion of the bar. You didn't move it as one smooth lift. But his bench day, again, we do a little more volume than we've previously done on some stuff. So we are focusing on, again, flat benching with a pause. We're doing incline benching now with a pause. I want him pausing on everything. I want him to build that power. Again, we talk about downward movement of the bar. Okay, if we learn to get powerful out of the bottom and drive through on everything, all right, we can start eliminating some of those problems, can't we? The incline bench lets us really do what we were trying to get out of the overhead press for him, because he lays back quite a bit. It's still letting him build the front delts, but getting more chest involved. We got to bring that chest up. Then he does pull-ups, he does tricep extensions, and then we do barbell curls. It's pretty much a complete upper body day for him. And I know it looks a little different from some of my other lifters. It looks a little different from mine. But the idea is the same. We plug the supplemental lifts in kind of where they make sense. We plug them in where they make sense. So for someone like me who needs more bench specialization, what you're doing, you're seeing me do only pressing muscles. So I can get a little more total volume in that day on the bench day, and then I do my curls and stuff on deadlift day. Now, here he goes, his first 500 deadlift ever. Almost a hitch, borderline a hitch. But would it pass and meet? I think so. Now, I didn't see him set the bar down, so assuming he set the bar down under control, I think most judges would pass that in comp, right? Because even for me as a judge, I wouldn't call it a true hitch. It would get passed. It was real close to being a hitch. But how do we fix some of that? We work on that posterior chain. We need him to be able to drive through. So we do more posterior chain work. We do the glute ham raises. We do those things. Okay. And I may do some other posterior chain stuff. We may need to adjust his programming, to make that work, right? To really get it to do what we want it to do. Then what else we do on his deadlift day? We do pull-ups. We do the glute ham raises. Now, these are some of my favorite deadlift accessories. I'll go so far as to say that, pull-ups and glute ham raises will build your deadlift quite a bit. They'll build your deadlift quite a bit. And you guys can tell at this point he has cut a few pounds already. He's about 5 pounds into his cut. Told him from here, let's take it slow. We can't have stuff like that squat day. We can't lose too fast. Let's get you lean. But we don't want to lose the muscle and strength that we've accumulated on this bulk. We don't want to lose it. Let's keep it. Let's keep it. But again, you guys know how I feel about the glute ham raise. You know how I feel about pull-ups. Great deadlift builders. But he does volume pulling with it anyways. We do back off work on the deadlift. So we're doubling down on all that. We're getting the specificity of the deadlift, and we're building a lot of the support musculature. And I've explained in detail in the past how pull-ups and chin-ups improve our deadlift. It's not necessarily the primary movers. It's all the support musculature that we need. Right? It's all the support musculature that we need. And there we go. Watch his deadlift one more time. And like I said, almost a hitch, but it's not quite. I say 90% chance that's going to get passed in a meet, says me. We'll get him on a platform later and we'll find out for sure. But that's also fixable by bringing up the weak links and practicing the singles, right? He needs more hamstring. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.